had volunteered at the Advocacy County, doing a lot of staff tasks as needed, and also helped with helping in receiving a paying job eventually. A little bit about me at the Advocacy County. I'm their advocacy coordinator. I do a lot of great things in my job. When my parents got involved with the National Arc, and I used to live in Salt Lake City, Utah at the time, and it's been about 6 years now and living in Washington. I moved from Utah to here, and it's been like the next chapter in my life. I've really learned a lot, and it was just so much. I cannot believe how much stuff that I am involved with now here in Washington compared to what I was doing in Utah, which I was doing as volunteer. Now here I am in Washington, and all the things I volunteered in Utah. Now I have this wonderful full-time job at the Advocacy County and fulfilling my passion, turning that into more as a career in my life right now, and how I feel more of an advocate for all people that are equal and wanting to do their similar stuff that I'm doing, but everybody has their own style and doing what they want to do. Some examples of volunteering. When I started out at the Advocacy County and I was volunteering, I helped putting flyers in envelopes, and that kind of sounds, boring but kind of interesting. But I had fun because I made a lot of friends and I gained a lot of leadership in that process, and it was really cool. Another thing is I was volunteering in advocacy groups, and it's really great. Next slide, please. People with disabilities are equal. We all have rights, and it's important to know the law. Some examples are that you have the right to apply for any job you want. It could be any kind of job that you would want to do. If you are hired, you should be given an equal benefit of a job. And having the benefits and having a job is a really great thing. So, yes, next slide. Working is important. I really enjoy working. It is important to me. I think it's important to all of you, yes? Yeah. Awesome. It is very important to earn your own money and making decisions about how to spend money. And I live on my own. I had a goal, and I've been saying I wanted to live on my own, and I've been saying that so often to one of my friends saying, "I'll see it when I believe it." And so basically, I actually turned that goal into reality. Once I found out I was on my own and doing everything, cooking and everything, I'm just so happy and actually wanting to be that independent, taking responsibility, full-time job, and really enjoying. Is having a job important to you?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because having a job is giving you independence and making money like everybody else, with the satisfaction of being fitting in.
Mm-hmm. Right. Next slide. Control your life and your career. Deciding to be positive about your job. I always like to be positive about just about everything, not just my job, but everything in life makes me quite positive, and that's where I get my momentum to be the advocate who I am today. I never thought that I could be able to be at this step in my life. From my mom wanting to keep me as their son instead of putting me in an institution, that was interesting. But it took me long enough to understand that, and so one of the times when I was growing up and going through school, elementary, kids were making fun of me around that time, and so basically they're calling me retarded, and I didn't know what that was until every day when I come home, I said, Mom, kids, excuse me, are calling me retarded. And I said, I know, I'm not. Anyway, another great thing is to step up and telling your supervisor in your job that you want to be treated as an equal. And I am not special. I don't see myself being special because of my disability or being special of who I am as a person. Living and breathing, feeling great, loving life. And what are some good things about your job? Anyone? You have a job?
I'm a janitor right now. So basically, I get paid, but on a time study.
What's a good thing about your job that you really like?
No, I like the meteorology stuff.
Cool.
Trying to be a lobbyist.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. Next slide, please. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We all hear that question in our minds, and I know that's hard for me to basically say it's okay to ask for help. It always is. Not always being so confident and saying, oh, I know this. I don't need someone telling me what to do. I like the aspect of this. It's asking for help. But sometimes it gets a little bit tricky when you ask for help. There are parents, job providers, advocates that are out there that they see that you need help and they don't really do anything, but they'll ask you if they need help. One of the greatest things as a parent, and I guess in job coaches and providers, is to not just ask for help, give the support and help that person anyway, because you know that person needs help them anyway, because people with disabilities, to a certain level, we are vulnerable. I don't like that word in particular, but I know that we are all vulnerable at a certain extent and having control in our lives and doing what we want, but sometimes it's hard enough for a person with a disability to actually see that. And having someone seeing that and realizing that and giving that support, I would rather have someone help me instead of me falling and not getting back up again. It's really hard at times. Everyone needs help at sometimes, you know. And being a team player, I love being a team player. I have so many people in my life that has been a team player and always supported me in a lot of ways. And I really feel very honored and humbled in that area. That's just so amazing to me. Next slide, please. This picture right here, this is Olympia, our capital in Washington State. During this session, there's these days called Advocacy Days that is funded by the Arc of Washington and the Washington Developmental Disability Council. I get some funding to solder this bus that you see on the side right here. It's I fill that bus up pretty much every year when we go down, at least 3 times. I fill that 56 passenger bus filled with people with disabilities, their their parents or their job providers that would go with them, and they come on that bus. And every year we go up to the state capitol and we learn about legislative advocacy, and that's one of my huge sparks in life. And I've been down there, and I like to share that with other people. And knowing, what's important to you is you share your personal story with your own legislators and make that really cool relationships with your legislators and their assistants, and being able to talk to them and being okay. And that's great. And this was a sign that we all signed and everything. It said, "We are the voice." This was a rally that we went to. Every year there's a rally. They have different things. And that year, was a great. And there's me right there in the black I am a man. I actually bought that shirt when I went to Memphis, Tennessee as a vacation. Never been there, but I'm a big fan of Elvis Presley. And I always seen Elvis's grave and pictures in magazines or books. I never saw the real thing until I actually got there. That, in a way, kind of gave me chills up my spine because a little bit of Elvis is inside of me because the same year that he passed away was the same year that I was born. And so I have my ways with a lot of people, and I articulate how I want to say something to get my message through to people. And another reason why I went to Matthes is Martin Luther King Jr. That's where he was assassinated, and that was a really big thing that basically reminded me of how important it is for me to have the job that I have, and what we are all doing in advocating basically for the same stuff, but we all have different viewpoints in doing that, but we're doing the same stuff as a team, and how wonderful that feeling is. So I felt that when I was at Matthes. Next slide. Thank you. All right, now this is open questions and answers for anyone with that is wanting to ask questions and have an open discussion about questions and stuff that you guys have for us, John or me.
How long did you volunteer before you were hired and got paid at the ARC of King County?
Okay, about 2 years or so, yeah. And then I became on the board of directors at the ARC of King County. That was another volunteer experience. I really enjoyed that. After being on the board of directors, somebody who I worked with thought it would be a great idea and a great fit for me to be working at the ARC. And after a couple of questions and what they did, basically they just hired me because they loved me. And they really liked that. And I thought, I never felt that before.
John has a question.
Okay. My buddy John has a question for me. Cool.
This is the map of Fairview. Physical rehab building where you would babysit. Yeah. And you started getting ideas. Then, man, money, a man. That's a rehab. A man. The phone. You. Called you? A man called you? To come and babysit. Okay. A meeting? A meeting like this? No? A meeting at the physical rehab building? To discuss ways that you could work? like lots of teenagers who babysit.
That's right.
Everybody can find their way in earning their own pay.
Yeah.
That's great. Yes.
Eric, I heard you went to Washington DC at one time and made quite a stir there. Could you, I haven't heard that story. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've been to Washington D.C. at least six times, maybe more, for different speaking opportunities and different things that I have been involved with. With the Employment First in Washington, it was a one-day meeting, and I went there, and it was a really great meeting, and I got to speak and talk about Washington a little bit and how great that is, and how that Washington State is a mentoring state for the Employment First, and I'm in part of that along with webinars that I listen on in while I'm at work.
When have you been involved in advocating?
Say that again?
When did you start advocating?
When I was living in Utah, when it was 1996, or after I graduated from high school, is when I started in advocating for myself. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask John, I know you've written a book and you've been like the poster child of living an independent life, but what's next, I wonder, for you? I know you're never going to slow down.
I was just checking the answer that I thought I knew was correct. John's plans for his next adventure are to travel to South Africa and take his message of hope and self-empowerment to people he knows. Money. And you need to raise some money, a little bit. So look for the fundraising website. It's not up yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, we'll do it. I have a question for Eric. Is advocacy part of what you do for the ARC, or is that something that you do separately from?
That's what I do personally, and also what I do for my job too is advocacy, because I'm the advocacy coordinator at the ARC King County.
Okay.
If you don't have my business card, I have a lot of them, so I'm willing to pass them out to any of you if you want to get in contact with me and do that and learn more about what I do and that sort of stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eric, I can talk loudly.
Go ahead.
So, Eric, I'm wondering how old you are and what do you like to do on your birthday?
Okay. My question to all of you is, how old do you think I am by looking at me? Just give me a couple of guesses.
32.
32?
35.
Oh, yeah.
45,
30.
Okay.
39.
39. I am 36 years old, living with Down syndrome, and I am very proud to say that.
And how do you like to spend your birthdays?
How I like to spend my birthdays is with my family and also with friends, and I really look at it as another year, more responsibility, and I really like that a lot. Like one of my favorite movies